In March 2021, a father who goes by JB, known on TikTok as Dino Nuggets 741, positioned a camera to watch over a quiet, unoccupied hallway inside his house. JB says he wasn't home at the time his security footage began recording. Initially, everything is completely still. The corridor is brightly lit, the atmosphere is calm, and not a soul is present. Then, out of nowhere, the silence of the empty house is shattered. The hallway light suddenly dies, swallowing everything in complete darkness. Shortly after, a pale door begins to drift open on its own. Next to it, a pitch-black, human-shaped shadow stretches along the wall as though it's emerging straight out of it. The door stalls for a moment, then crashes violently shut with a thunderous bang before the light sputters back to life. Although a frame-by-frame breakdown shows the shadow never fully detaches from the door hinge, the sequence of events is deeply unsettling, and this wouldn't be the last dark encounter JB would experience in his home.
Oh my god.
Come on, yeah, we should go. Stay behind me. Shit. No. Come with me. Stick right behind me. All right, here we go. Oh, shit. Do you hear that? Look. Shit. Ready? Oh, you smell that?
Oh, it smells like burnt dog farts.
I'm scared, man.
Several months on, a solitary black figure crawls past that very same living room archway. JB sprints into the hallway shortly after and checks every nearby room, only to find the place completely deserted. The footage never reveals where the figure originated or where it disappeared to, yet JB is firmly convinced it's a shadowy demon that has followed his family from one home to the next. Was something sinister genuinely moving through those halls? Or was the camera simply deceived by the dark? Drop your thoughts below. Our next clip comes from the TikTok account shown here on screen. The person behind it is a woman who runs a farm out near the Appalachian Mountains. Her content is typically centered around her animals and the day-to-day rhythm of rural life, nothing even remotely supernatural. But that changed when she started posting about a series of unsettling incidents taking place around her property.
I live in the Smoky Mountains, near the Appalachian border, okay? In Kodak, Tennessee. It's 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I need you to know what I just saw in the woods, okay? So let's go. It's a regular night. Me and our daughter are sitting in our hot tub on our property, and she's on the phone with one of her friends, all right? Then I hear some leaves. Don't think anything about it, but we've got like lots of critters and stuff running around, so I stand up over on the ledge of the hot tub to look over our privacy fence to shine the light. I have my shot pew in my left hand and my spotlight in my right hand, and I'm looking. Boom. See it. I say, Kaylin, get down right now. She gets off. She's standing in the hot tub. We're looking at this at the same time. I see this. Just one glowing green eye, okay? Everything around it is completely distorted. You can't see the two privacy lights that are long ways on the other property behind it. You can't see the red tower in the background. You can't see anything, okay? Everything around it is completely distorted. So I'm shining the light on it constantly, thinking that eventually it'll move, I'll be able to tell what it is, okay? And it does like this. And it's this moment that I realize that whatever is watching us is intelligent and is watching us, okay? So we keep looking, trying to figure out what's going on. I watched this thing, we both did, go crash down like this, okay? So now I can see like this instead of like this, from 4 legs, and stand up and step around the tree from 4 legs to 2 legs, okay? And then it starts like this, like stepping, like weird gait, okay? It's not moving quickly. It's still just me and it, and that's it, all right? Me and my daughter and this thing. Complete silence. Complete silence. There should be noise from it walking on the leaves, moving through the woods, nothing. We got the hell out of there so quick. I need to know if anybody has seen or experienced anything like this. I don't know how long that thing was watching us, but literally, just like this. And then it decides, okay, you're gonna keep watching me, fine. No. And why? If I'm shining my light directly on you, all I can tell is that you go from 4 legs to 2 legs, but I can't see anything else. I can't tell if you're hairy. I can't tell what color you are. I can't make out any facial features.
And that's where it begins. Now, the Appalachian Mountains carry a long history of deeply rooted, eerie folklore passed down through countless generations. Once she went public with her experience, her comment section flooded with responses from other people sharing strikingly similar stories from that same region. Then, the very next night, whatever had been lurking around her home and her daughter seemed to come back.
Something earlier chased my husband and my son Alexander when they were taking one of the chickens back outside.
Okay, so after it was moving really fast.
Yeah,
Really faster than deer.
towards us.
Well,
Yeah,
it was
from the
moving.
same fucking place, the same place.
So
right.
I shot.
Lights to the right.
I shot a couple of times.
Right, fired off around.
Well, I shot. I think I may have even hit it.
Right there, left. I just saw eyes right there.
Yeah, we've been seeing eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
All over there.
I'm going inside and I'm telling them what happened.
Telling you what happened. Oh,
Yes.
I don't blame you, dude. That's
This is insane.
clearly something.
This is insane. Okay, my phone died. It literally went from 60 to 1 and then it died, okay? So we're sitting here, we realize what's going on. I say it's the chairs being dragged across the concrete, okay? Then all of a sudden we hear tapping. The door is on the other side of this, right through those doors right there. The tapping was through there. That's where the hot tub is, on that side. And right along that side of the property line right there is where it was last night, okay? Then, right after 4 taps on that glass, something tried to put in a code on my front door, and it was wrong, and it went da-na-na-na, and then it left, and it was complete silence. My 2 oldest boys were at the gym. My other son, who is 16, and my husband, who protects our home mostly, okay, were gone. This thing waited until the protectors of our home were gone to intimidate us. And not 1, but 2 this time. I immediately went. I got my AR. I slammed in the clip. I flipped the fucker to fire, and I chambered that.
Only people that were in the home were women, children, and the elderly.
I went and checked all the doors. I locked 2 doors that were unlocked. Only one of those doors had somebody been out of today. The other one has not been touched. It never is used. Nobody ever uses that entrance. I went and opened my grandpa's door. I checked on him. He said he'd been in there the whole time. I said, Grandpa, something's trying to get in the house. Do not come out. We're sweeping the house with guns. Stay in this room. Call me if you need me. Then I called my husband. I called my husband. I called my husband. His phone was not working. We just made sure before all this weird shit started happening, I love you too, that our phones were working and our locations were turned on. So I called Carson and I said, where are you guys? Are you at home? And they said, no, we're still at the gym. I said, get home now. Something's trying to get in the house, and it is the same time as last night. And here's the other thing. As soon as everybody starts to get home, it starts to ice outside. It's icing outside now. Out of nowhere.
Everyone made it inside safely. Out in the darkness, you can spot a pair of glowing eyes fixed on them. What makes the whole thing even more chilling is that she described seeing not just one set of eyes, but several. On top of that, they appeared to hold off until her husband and sons had driven away before showing themselves. When the footage went up, commenters noticed a second figure standing disturbingly close to them, partially hidden near a tree. Several people claiming to have faced similar situations warned her that these might be the kinds of creatures deeply embedded in Appalachian legend. Not long after, she posted another video, and here's what her camera recorded.
It exited out what I was trying to record. I never used to leave my front porch lights on. What the is that? Hey yo, what the is that? Oh, no, 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 no.
A large portion of her audience is now convinced that something is actively targeting her family, and they urged her to follow a strict set of guidelines. Never look up into the trees after dark. Don't leave anything outside that could carry your scent. Keep every window and blind shut once night falls. And if something out there appears to be mimicking someone you love, trust your gut it isn't them. So, what do you make of all this? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. One night while he was away from home, a detective received an alert from his phone that immediately set his nerves on fire. His smart home security camera had picked up motion inside the property, but the problem was deeply unsettling. Nobody should have been there. With a shaky hand, he pulled up the footage to find out what had triggered the sensor, and what he saw was nothing short of terrifying. Within just a few seconds of the recording starting, a light in a room to the left suddenly cuts out before blinking back on. Then, moments later, a pale, glowing shape drifts slowly into frame, moving in the direction of the staircase. The thing is, whatever this figure is, it doesn't appear remotely human. It has no defined form, no clear outline, just an eerie, washed-out white glow. And just as it begins ascending the stairs, the footage cuts out entirely. Even so, those few seconds were more than enough to leave the detective completely rattled. Honestly, after seeing something like that on your camera while you're miles away from home, I'd probably just slide the keys under the door for whatever that thing is, and start looking for a new place to live. Somewhere in rural New Zealand, a photographer showed up expecting nothing out of the ordinary. It was March 27th, 2013. And he'd been brought in to shoot a client's property for an insurance assessment. He worked his way through the house methodically, capturing the standard shots required for the documentation before wrapping up and heading out. The whole job went without a hitch. No sounds of anyone moving around, no glimpse of another person, nothing to suggest he hadn't spent that entire afternoon by himself. The image didn't raise any alarms at first. It was only when he sat down to transfer the photos to his computer that one particular frame stopped him cold. There, toward the edge of the shot, was what appeared to be the unmistakable lower half of a small child. He had no memory of noticing anything like that when he looked through the viewfinder, and there was absolutely no reason for it to be there. His mind didn't immediately jump to the supernatural he wanted a logical answer. He mentally retraced every moment of the visit, trying to figure out if someone could have slipped inside without his knowledge. But the harder he thought about it, the more that theory fell apart. Troubled by what he was looking at, he reached out to the property owners. What they told him next was something they'd kept entirely to themselves until that moment they were preparing to leave the home, because they were convinced it was haunted by the spirit of a young child. The photo didn't confirm their belief, but the sequence of events gave it a strange kind of weight. He captured the image before he ever heard the story. And that one detail is exactly why this photograph is still being argued over more than 10 years later. It was already after midnight when Elton and a friend made their way toward a city lake for a late-night fishing trip. The walk felt calm and uneventful until they spotted someone in a location, and at an hour that made absolutely no sense. From where they were standing, they couldn't quite tell what they were looking at. Still, they chose to move closer in case that person needed help, and that's the moment things started getting genuinely unsettling.
12:54. Y en el parque no todos duermen. Ya aguanta, no hables. Niña, espérame. ¿Regresas a tu casa? Ojalá no. Se le ha haber salido alguien. Vente. Sí. Y el columpio. Sí, güey, espérame, no te espantes. Niña, regrésate a tu casa. Niña, regrésate a tu casa. No seas mamón. Niña, no.
There, sitting on a swing, was a young girl dressed entirely in white, completely by herself in the dead of night. No adults were anywhere in sight, and there was no one else around her at all. Elton and his friend kept moving toward her, more worried than frightened at that point. As they closed the distance, they even called out for her to go home, but she didn't respond. Then, the instant she noticed them approaching, she bolted and appeared to duck behind a nearby tree. The two men followed, fully expecting to find her right on the other side, but when they got there and looked around, she was simply gone. What makes it so hard to shake is that just seconds before, she was clearly visible running in that exact direction, and now there wasn't a single trace of her anywhere. That's the moment their concern flipped into outright fear. With no way to explain how she could have vanished that fast, the two agreed it was time to leave. Sometime afterward, Elton went back to that same spot hoping to find answers and came up completely empty. In the comments section, two theories rose to the top. The first is that the girl may have been a spirit, appearing at that location for reasons nobody can explain. The second is far more grounded. Maybe she was a real child who got scared of the two men and managed to slip out of the camera's view in time. But even that explanation carries its own kind of dread, because if she truly was just an ordinary little girl, what on earth was she doing out there alone on a swing past midnight? Either way, both answers are unsettling, just for very different reasons. And as always, I'll let you make up your own mind. A man from the United States posted a video to TikTok that left viewers genuinely questioning what they'd seen. It begins late at night with him sitting by himself in his living room, mindlessly scrolling through his phone. Out of nowhere, an overwhelming sense of dread washes over him, the distinct feeling that someone is lurking just beyond the window, peering inside. He picks up his phone and starts recording, hoping to catch whoever's out there.
Now, something was looking at me through the window, and I heard I'm freaking out. There's something in this house with me. There's something in here. I'm telling you. No.
As he keeps the camera rolling, his focus shifts toward the kitchen. Without warning, items sitting on the counter start shifting on their own, slowly at first, but there's no mistaking it. Fear takes hold the moment he understands he isn't the only one in that house. Then, things escalate fast. A kitchen knife launches itself through the air, cutting straight toward him. It barely misses, skidding across the floor just a few feet away. Before he even has a second to process it, something else comes flying at him from the shadows. The whole atmosphere becomes deeply unsettling. This doesn't have the feel of a staged joke, it feels more like something reacting to his growing terror. Whatever presence he sensed lurking outside that window was clearly no figment of his imagination. So the question is, did he stumble upon a break-in? Or is this a full-blown poltergeist encounter captured on video? Late one night, a woman was at the hospital visiting her ill daughter when something strange appeared in the background of her video. According to the family, they were the only ones on that entire floor at the time, which made the whole thing far more disturbing. Whatever the footage captured has had viewers arguing over what it actually shows.
Oh, hello. Very gorgeous.
A dark, shadowy shape suddenly darts across the background. It happens so quickly that it's almost impossible to catch, leaving the whole thing wide open for debate. One night, an officer named Barker gets what should be the most straightforward call of his evening. A woman has been removed from a hotel and barred from returning, yet here she is, back inside, and up on the 3rd floor in room 309. On paper, it reads like nothing a trespassing complaint, walk her out, done in under 10 minutes, back to patrol. He has no clue that this call is going to go somewhere else entirely. When the body cam footage begins, she appears completely normal, standing in the corridor, holding a coffee, talking to the officers the way anyone might after a hard night.
Hello. Hi, I'm Officer Barker with Cosmic PD.
I have room 309.
Do you have a key card? So we got called because she said that you've been trespassed from here.
I don't have trespass on me.
I'm sorry?
Can't put trespass on me.
They're saying that you have one.
Military.
Do you have an ID with you?
No, I don't. I'm a Spooks.
What's your name?
I'm a Spooks.
Hold on. I'm sorry, one more time?
I'm a Spooks.
But something surfaces almost immediately, and it lives in her eyes. There's an emptiness behind them that has no business being there. Like whatever is looking out isn't quite her. Anyone who spent time with the older records of possession will tell you the eyes are always the first thing to go. The face can hold itself together perfectly fine, but the person who used to occupy it has already left the building.
AWPH. Are you trying to control me, sir?
I'm sorry?
I said, see the you or the lady standing next to you.
I'm sorry, say that again. It's kind of hard to understand you.
You or that lady next to you that's trying to control me. This is Chris Austin, sir. You can be Chris Austin? I need to know, are you out of my building? This is another harassment charge?
No, it's going to be a trespassing charge and a concealing charge if I can't figure out who you are. Do you know who she is?
I'm in 309. I'm in, I have a reservation for 309. I have 29 on the next floor.
Huh?
I'm military.
You're military?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright.
So Barker does the most fundamental thing in his toolkit and asks her name, and that's exactly where things begin to unravel. She gives her last name first Seaboy, spelling it out slowly, like she's tracing letters only visible to her. There's a smaller moment that almost everyone misses. Amid the confusion, she murmurs it quietly, That's trying to control me, sir. She isn't referring to Barker, and she isn't referring to the hotel. She means something operating inside her own body. For just a moment, the real woman forces herself to the surface to issue a warning, and then she's pulled back under.
No other testimony because it's a deep blood.
It's not, no. We're here to see if you're trespassing.
I'm not trespassing. Your badge number?
I'm sorry?
What is your badge number?
What is your name? We're trying to get that part. Like your legal name?
Yeah, I am. That's my married
What's
name.
your date of birth? We gotta figure out who you are.
I used to be Perez Bandito.
You what?
I used to be Perez Bandito.
Perez Bandito?
Yes.
Put your hands on your back for me?
No, no, I shit.
Shelby.
I shit. Shake my face.
Yeah, pull her hands up.
Hold on. Grab it.
She got a couple seconds.
Yeah.
You okay?
No. You better get my
right.
shit.
Yeah, we'll grab it. Just your
Hold on.
jackets?
Just give me your hand real quick.
Fucking bitch.
Hey, just your jackets? No.
Hold on, I just my jacket's in the water.
Jackets in your water?
Alright. Bitch. Shit, you better make it done,
You're gonna catch some charges, Shelby. Stop.
I am. Oh, you're gonna turn me. Stupid son of a bitch. Die.
It's not on me, but we're gonna have to walk in my car.
I'll scratch.
Get my shit.
Almost immediately after, Barker mentions the word arrest, and that single word flips everything upside down in a heartbeat. Her voice drops and comes out distorted and wrong, hauled up from somewhere no human throat should be able to reach, and then the hissing begins, long, drawn out, and deeply unnatural. This is the detail that tends to stay with people, because it's the exact same sound documented in the earliest possession accounts ever recorded different continents, different centuries, but the same hiss showing up every single time. It took several trained officers to physically restrain one woman, and the force she was putting out had no right to belong to that frame. At some point during the struggle, she calls out a name, and not one person in that hallway recognizes it. Corporal Lieutenant Worm, that isn't a real rank. There was no such individual present, and she wasn't addressing the officers when she said it. She was calling out to something positioned elsewhere in that corridor, and no matter how carefully you scrub through the footage, the camera never picks it up. And this wasn't even her first time back. Staff confirmed she'd been banned previously and kept reappearing anyway, and you can hear it straight from her mouth on the recording. This is the 4th time we have paid. Something kept pulling her back to that specific room, and neither a ban nor a badge had any grip on it. By the time everything winds down, she is restrained and still, the rage completely drained out of her, the fear gone right along with it. What remains just sits there vacant, like a structure left standing after a fire has already gutted everything within its walls. One of the officers, clearly worn thin by that point, delivers the tape's final line, telling her she's off their Christmas list. He's reaching for a joke, something to release the pressure in the room, but the silence sitting underneath it won't let the moment breathe. Once the footage spread online, people settled into the usual 2 camps. Some are convinced it's a mental health episode, painful, human, nothing beyond that. Others can't account for the strength, or the hissing, or the name she threw into an empty hallway, and they're not prepared to believe a single person was fully in control of that body by the end. No one has come up with an explanation that accounts for all of it. In the clip, a woman is seen lying helplessly on a bed as a man, reportedly a paranormal healer, carries out what looks like some kind of spiritual cleansing ritual. What the camera picked up next had viewers seriously questioning the nature of what they were witnessing. Pay close attention to every detail here. During the ritual, the man takes an egg and rolls it across the woman's body before breaking it open into a bowl. What comes out of that egg stops everyone cold. The contents appear to have gone completely black, instantly drawing the eyes of every person in the room. A few moments pass, and then the woman abruptly sits up, grabs the bowl, and drinks what's inside. Almost immediately after, her body begins convulsing in wild, uncontrolled movements. But the most disturbing part comes next. She appears to physically rise off the bed, and the energy inside that room shifts into something genuinely terrifying. Even now, no one has been able to offer a confirmed explanation for what this footage actually shows. There are those who believe this was a legitimate spiritual ceremony, and there are just as many who are convinced the whole thing was nothing more than an elaborate setup. This next clip comes to us from Brenna Logan, who says her sister used to work at a children's center where some genuinely unsettling things took place. She describes the facility as a spot for kids of varying ages, including those with an interest in music. It was essentially a hybrid between a music school and a daycare, and not many families chose to send their children there, and for good reason. The main one being fear. Kids would frequently tell the staff about a scary man they'd seen inside the play tunnel, yet every time someone checked, there was nobody there. Workers would also discover toys moved out of place despite the room being completely empty beforehand. Eventually, the center closed its doors when COVID shut everything down. But during that period, the owners installed security cameras to monitor the building against potential break-ins. Nobody ever broke in, but the cameras did record something that left the owners deeply unsettled. See for yourself what unfolded. And honestly, it's not hard to understand anymore why so few kids ever wanted to set foot in this place. From objects shifting on their own, to a mysterious white orb drifting through the space as if guided by something unseen, staff have long believed this building is haunted. Now, setting the footage aside entirely, Brenna's sister is completely convinced of that too. She no longer works at the center, but the eerie things she witnessed there have never left her memory. Brenna may not have any recordings of her sister's personal encounters, but she has no doubt she was telling the truth. She believes every word, and she believes that whatever was captured on those cameras isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Two siblings, Josh and Crystal, were spending the night at a hotel when something completely out of the ordinary took place, something that convinced them the property was haunted by the ghost of a young boy. Determined to document what was happening, they grabbed their phone and started filming as they attempted to make contact and draw it out again.
It's okay. I can see you. Come to me. Are you the little boy? It's okay. Come here. It's okay. I don't know if my eyes are playing tricks on me, but it looks like it's going like back and forth. You see a movie? See a movie? It's okay.
No, wait.
It's
Come
okay.
back. Come back.
Where?
No, you come back. Go straight. Look straight towards me. No. Turn towards me like you were earlier. Put your back towards me.
A dark, shadowy figure can be seen darting out of the small bathroom right in the area where Josh and Crystal had set up to record, leaving the two of them rattled by what they had just witnessed. They had assumed the boy was somewhere outside the room, but it turned out he had actually been in the bathroom with them the entire time. The pair are reportedly planning to return and gather more evidence, so with any luck we'll be seeing some follow-up footage before long. They broke into an abandoned church, and what they discovered inside left them completely shaken. This footage dates back to August 2023 and spread across the internet almost immediately. In the video, two friends decide to slip inside a church late one night, a building that had been shut down just a few months prior under unclear circumstances. The people responsible for the church never offered any real explanation for the closure, but people living nearby have long claimed the place is haunted, and that those who once worked there experienced deeply unsettling things. Regardless, once the two friends made their way inside and started looking around, they stumbled upon something that stopped them dead in their tracks. See for yourself.
This place has been abandoned for like 3 months, I think.
Oh my god, yes. Okay. Let's go. Okay.
You ready?
Yeah. There's a light on. The light's the everlasting light. It's in every church. It's always supposed to be on. It's freezing, actually. Oh. Oh. Maggots? Oh my god, it smells. Oh my god. Try not to step on them. Oy. That was disgusting. What the let's go upstairs. Give me that. Close your face. Dude, you gotta be quiet.
More.
Oh my god. These things are everywhere. Pull this out.
What they discovered was a massive amount of dead insects and worms strewn across the floor throughout the church, and neither of them could make any sense of it. Still, they pushed on and kept exploring, but what came next was far more disturbing. Here's what unfolded.
No, I hear something. heard something. I don't know.
What was it?
I don't know.
Swarm is the foundation.
It started with faint whispering sounds, barely detectable at first. Viewers in the comments were quick to point out that the voices seemed to resemble children, or possibly people deep in prayer. Then, without any warning, that small door swung shut completely on its own. That was the breaking point. Both friends panicked instantly and bolted straight out of the building. What makes the whole thing even harder to explain is the sheer volume of dead worms and insects covering the floor in such a strangely deliberate pattern. Most people who've seen this believe the church was closed for one reason: it's haunted. Two friends were settling in for a relaxed night at home, curled up watching a horror film together. Everything felt completely ordinary at first, but somewhere in the middle of the movie, strange sounds started emerging from within the house.
Aquí viendo una película de terror y se están empezando a escuchar ruidos en la casa. Te juro que neta, en serio. Ponle pausa, ponle pausa, ponle pausa, ponle pausa. Pausa. Alexa, mute. Alexa, mute. Pausa. Ay, ¿no se pausó? What the fuck? Madres. Te los juro, ¿qué pedo? Bien. ¿Sí lo grabaste? Sí, creo que sí quedó grabado. Es que estábamos aquí en la casa, estábamos viendo una película ya para... literal, ya para dormir. No mames. O sea, nosotros siempre tenemos la puerta abierta porque aquí hace...
One of the girls tried asking Alexa to pause the TV, but the device just sat there, completely unresponsive. Then came what sounded unmistakably like a door being slammed shut, followed shortly after by faint movement drifting in from another room. A few minutes passed before a sudden loud bang stopped both girls dead in their tracks. Shuffling noises crept in next, then a series of knocks that seemed to originate somewhere uncomfortably close. With each new sound, the two became more visibly shaken, huddling together and debating whether to bolt out the door or dial for help.
¿Qué hacemos? ¿Tiene su número? Márcale. Ay, acompáñame a mi cuarto. ¿Qué se sigue moviendo esa cosa? No, vente, no, vente. Vean.
What makes this footage so hard to shake is the raw, unfiltered terror written across their faces. Was there a simple, rational explanation behind all those noises, or had something uninvited made its way into the house? Either way, nothing about that night looked like either of them saw it coming. What began as a quiet Thanksgiving getaway in the woods turned into a night of pure dread, when one hiker realized he wasn't alone, and that someone had been leaving unsettling messages stretched across miles of backcountry trail. On December 19th, 2021, the day before Thanksgiving, a YouTuber named Phil from the channel Hike Slam headed out for an overnight trip along Virginia's Appalachian Trail.
Here from Hike Slam. Today I'm gonna hike into the woods a little bit here in Virginia and do an overnight. It's the day before Thanksgiving. It's supposed to be cold tonight, but...
The plan couldn't have been simpler. Reach Matt's Creek shelter, pitch camp, and unwind beside a fire near the river. Conditions seemed perfect, but the further Phil pushed into the forest, the more that tranquility began to erode. Roughly 30 minutes in, he came across litter strewn along the path. When he bent down to get a closer look, what he found sent a cold ripple through him.
As I was walking up, I saw some trash in the trail, and I came across this. So some Bud Light cans, plastic bat, some writing on some of this garbage. This one. Hangman is coming down from the gallows. Song lyrics.
Song lyrics written in heavy marker across beer cans. Not just any lyrics, either. These particular words felt deeply wrong in the middle of an empty wilderness.
Other weird things. Oh, hopefully I don't get murdered out here. That would totally ruin my day. Well, let's keep going.
Phil tried to shake it off. Probably just some reckless camper passing through, he told himself. But the phrase "hangman is coming down from the gallows" refused to leave his thoughts as he pressed on. Then, less than a mile from his intended campsite, things took a darker turn.
Continues. What the hell? And there's a
freshly killed duck, deliberately laid out on the trail, and beside it, a lengthy, rambling handwritten note.
Dead duck here. A very long note. And it looks like it was just put here because it's not wet. That duck is fairly recently killed. Alright.
The paper was dry. The bird's body was not, which meant whoever had placed it there had done so recently, possibly within the last 60 minutes. Through the tree line, Phil caught sight of smoke curling upward, and then he heard the distinct pop and hiss of an active campfire. Somebody was down by the river at that very moment. Phil's pulse jumped. The shelter he'd been making for was close, but standing between him and it was whoever had been scattering these disturbing markers along the trail.
I'm almost at the shelter, which was going to be my camp spot for the night. That scene back there really freaked me out though. Sun's going down. I'm going to get to the shelter, reassess the situation, and see what I think about this whole deal. I'm a little out of breath because I'm trying to put as much distance between me and that sketchy camp spot back there.
As Phil moved toward the shelter area, he spotted him a solitary man perched on a rock near the riverbank, camped beneath a tarp with a fire burning beside him. This was the same individual who had left the hangman lyrics, the dead animal, the strange written warnings. Before Phil could even process what to do next, he ran into something that made the whole situation considerably worse.
So, as I was hiking toward the shelter, still considering what I was going to do for the night, these two women were hiking in the opposite direction. They had a little dog with them. They asked if I had seen the guy who was leaving the notes. I said he has a campsite down by the river because I could hear the fire going. I could see where his tarp was set up.
Two women. Visibly rattled, they were hurrying past the man's campsite, desperate to reach their vehicle.
Still considering camping out there, but I decided that I didn't really feel like it, and plus they said that they were kind of freaked out and asked if I would go with them and walk past his campsite so they could get back.
Let that sink in for a second. These women were frightened enough to ask a total stranger to walk them past another person's camp. Out in the backcountry, that kind of fear carries real weight. Phil made his call. He scrapped his original plan and hiked back out to his truck. But rather than driving home, he crossed to the other side of the road and began heading north on a separate stretch of the Appalachian Trail, hoping to put meaningful distance between himself and whoever was behind those messages. His new target was John's Hollow shelter, only 2 miles from where he'd started, but on the far side of the road. Phil hoped that would be enough separation.
All right, so I'm on the Appalachian Trail.
just in a different part, headed the opposite direction. So there's John's Hollow Shelter in Point 6. That looks like where I'll probably end up for the night.
He eventually arrived at John's Hollow Shelter, got settled, and marked Thanksgiving as best he could. For the first time all evening, the woods felt calm.
What a crazy day. Oh my gosh. So I had the one campsite in mind, the Mats Creek Shelter. And based on the crazy notes I saw and the dead animals and, I don't know, running into those women on the trail who were scared, I'm glad I made the decision not to camp down there because I would have just been freaked out the whole time. This is only about 2 miles from that other campsite, but it's on the other side of the road. Still on the Appalachian Trail, but far enough away that I...
Bill felt insulated, shielded by dense forest and a trail that saw little traffic. But that feeling of safety was about to collapse. Nearly every shelter along the Appalachian Trail keeps a logbook, a shared journal where hikers jot down their trail names, thoughts, and notes for whoever comes after them. Bill decided to flip through John's Hollow's log, expecting the usual lighthearted entries and trail chatter. Early on, the pages delivered exactly that: trail names, dated notes from months back. Then Phil reached the recent entries, and the air seemed to leave his lungs.
Holy crap. Wait a second. Let me adjust the camera here. This writing looks almost exactly like the writing that was on that garbage a couple of miles from here.
The handwriting was identical, the same chaotic, rambling style. The man from the Riverside camp, the one responsible for the hangman notes and the dead duck, had been at this very shelter, and not long ago. There were references to jail time, and to objects he claimed to have left along the trail years earlier, things Phil may well have walked right past without grasping their meaning.
Solitary confinement, I figured the following out. Refer to Isaiah 28:15 through 9. Here in early 2017, Trump, Nebo, allowed Obama to have the special use of the Air Force One.
The entries grew more erratic from there. Biblical passages tangled with political conspiracy theories, mentions of Obama and Trump, and then chillingly more Metallica lyrics.
Same ramblings from the guy that was on the other side of the river. That's kind of scary. Kind of weird. Those women down there said they were going to call the police on the guy. You're falling faster. Obey your master. The Metallica lyrics. What the heck, man? Once I came across that guy's writing, it was so weird. It was like, I felt like I was, I don't know, the plot continues or something. You open it up and it's like, that writing looks familiar. Oh my gosh.
Bill had hiked miles out of his way specifically to avoid this person, and yet here was hard evidence that the man had visited this exact shelter within the past few days. Song lyrics, political ranting, scripture, references to incarceration, solitary confinement, military themes, all of it scrawled across the logbook pages in that same frantic handwriting Phil had first encountered on discarded cans, and beside a dead animal miles back. Unsettled but working to hold it together, Phil decided to call it a night. He went back to the shelter to collect the last of his gear, and that's when something he'd overlooked earlier caught his eye.
What the hell is going on here? I'm in the shelter, I'm packing up my stuff to go into my tent, and they have these things that they put in shelters a lot to hang your food bag from, so like mice can't get to it. Look at this one. What do you know? Same handwriting as the one in the book, and that garbage on the trail from that same dude. So it says, watch out for yeet mouse. The dead do walk.
The dead do walk and talk. Those words sat in the cold mountain air like a threat. Bill was deep in the mountains, completely alone, with no easy access to help, and whoever had written that message clearly knew these trails inside and out, which shelters had mouse hangers, which sections were most isolated, exactly where to plant his cryptic warnings.
What the hell is going on?
Phil retreated to his tent, extinguished the fire, and secured everything he had. Sleep, however, wouldn't come. Every crack of a twig, every shift in the undergrowth, his mind kept constructing the same image. The author of those messages moving steadily up the trail toward him, watching, waiting. Stay with this until the end, because it turns out his instincts were onto something.
In my tent now, fire's been put out, all my gear's in here. I'm a little on edge. I keep watching the hill behind the shelter to see if I see a headlamp coming down there. The hike in here, there was nobody. There's no cars along the side of that Forest Service road except mine. It was super quiet here. I haven't heard any sign of a person at all. I hear animals up in the woods, but yeah, I don't know. I still have my shoes on.
He kept his boots on all night. That one detail says everything. Phil wasn't being overly cautious, he was genuinely deeply afraid.
Man, I think this is a combination of the weird dude down the trail and his cryptic writings that I keep finding everywhere, and also in the woods, your mind plays games with you, every sound.
The hours crawled by. Phil lay on top of his sleeping bag, eyes fixed on the tent ceiling, unable to drift off, every sense tuned to the sounds outside.
Alright, so I lied down for a couple hours, nodded off to sleep. Just on top of my sleeping bag. But man, every crack and crunch I hear outside of an animal walking by or a branch breaking, I don't know, it's just like, it's freaking me out.
But Phil's instincts were screaming otherwise, and those instincts were about to be proven right.
Okay, I'm out on the trail. It's the middle of the night. I was down in my tent, not asleep, kind of just like lying there staring at the tent walls, listening to all the sounds, and then I heard somebody.
Then he heard footsteps, movement through the dark, the unmistakable signal of another human being nearby.
At first, time to convince myself it wasn't what I thought I heard, but it definitely was somebody down there. So I didn't even wait to see or go down to see who it was, see if it was like a bunch of teenage girls or something. I don't know. I was just like, I am getting out of here. So I packed up all my stuff and I packed it up very quickly. I don't think I left anything behind.
Phil didn't investigate, didn't call out to identify who it was. His survival instinct kicked in pack everything, leave immediately, ask questions later.
And I just walked past. As I walked past, I did look. It did look like a single guy.
One man, alone in the shelter, in the middle of the night, wearing a headlamp, standing in the exact spot where Phil had been camped just hours before. Phil moved fast through the darkness, his own headlamp cutting across the trail ahead of him. Every few strides, he threw a glance back over his shoulder. He reached his truck, tossed his gear in, and pulled away from John's hollow shelter without a second look. But one question still had no answer. Who was the man standing in that shelter at 2 in the morning? Was it the same person who had been seeding the trail with cryptic messages for miles? An ordinary late-arriving hiker? Or something far more troubling? Phil never went back to that section of trail to find out, and honestly, that might have been the wisest move he made the entire trip. To this day, the identity of the so-called hangman writer remains a mystery. His messages continue to surface periodically in shelter logs along that stretch of the Appalachian Trail Bible verses, song lyrics, warnings about the dead rising. Sometimes out in the wilderness, it isn't the animals you need to keep an eye on. It's the ones who know those woods far more intimately than you ever could. In this clip, a grandmother is keeping an eye on her 2-year-old granddaughter when the little girl suddenly stops what she's doing on the couch and fixes her gaze toward the dining room.
So funny. I can't wait till summer gets here so we can go outside and play.
I miss Mimi.
I miss you too. I miss you too. What?
Coming.
What? Who's coming?
Here coming.
Who?
Him.
You see somebody back there?
Him.
Who?
Him.
Him?
Yeah.
Where's he at? Is he in our house?
Yeah.
Where? Show me. Where is he at? He's right in front of you?
Yep.
Who is it?
A guy.
Who's there, mister? What are you doing in our... Where's he at? In the dining room?
Yep.
Show me him. Go show me him. Give me your hand. Take me to him.
The child begins telling her grandmother exactly where this unseen figure is standing, and at first it could easily be written off as a toddler's imagination until she throws in one deeply unsettling detail.
Is he right here?
Yep.
He's in our dining room?
Yeah.
What are you doing in our dining room, mister? What does he look like?
I bug.
He's got bug eyes?
Yeah.
What are you doing in our living room, mister? Get. You go back home. You go back wherever you came from. What's he doing? Come on, you're creeping me out. We're going upstairs. Come on. You're scaring me. We're going upstairs. Yeah, you're scaring me.
According to the little girl, the man has bug eyes. Bug eyes. Her grandmother's composure starts to crack almost immediately, while the child herself looks genuinely frightened, as though something is hovering just a few feet away. Maybe it's nothing more than a toddler spinning a story, but the way she points, the way she reacts, and the specific details she uses to describe this figure all lead to one lingering question. Was there actually someone standing in that dining room? An Arizona mother named Dakota initially wrote off her daughter's terrifying nighttime episodes as a common childhood condition, until she realized something far more disturbing was going on.
Having night terrors, if they're waking up in the middle of the night screaming, freaking out.
From a very early age, Dakota's daughter would jolt awake screaming, clearly terrified of something lurking in her room. Dakota turned to the internet for answers, and everyone she heard from assured her it was simply night terrors, just a phase the little girl would eventually grow out of. She accepted that explanation and moved on. That is, until her daughter began holding conversations with an unseen presence around the home, and Dakota started recording events she simply couldn't explain.
Started talking to somebody, like saying hi to things that are like 7 feet tall. Everyone says like, oh, it's just a common part of growth, or maybe it's because you and her dad are fighting. I just blew it off. Her toys would just go off by themselves.
One of her daughter's toys activates completely on its own, though at first Dakota brushes it off, maybe a glitch, maybe just how the thing was built. But then it keeps happening, and not just with that one toy.
Post on Facebook and I'm like, hey guys, does anyone know like why this would happen? And a lot of people came up with these answers like, oh, it's the radio waves. And some people are saying it's designed, like those toys are designed to draw the attention of the kid. So I just let it go. I thought that maybe it was just designed to do that. Or maybe it was the radio waves. I just didn't pay much mind to it. But it didn't just happen once. It happened multiple times. I have multiple occasions on camera where this happened. One toy goes off and I'm like, nope. I'm not doing this. I threw it away the next day. And I'm telling you, this toy was a toy that had like 17 different little soundtracks by Fisher Price. It'll be like, oh, blah, blah, blah is the color. Instead, what it did was... no, I threw that away. I threw that away so fast. And the next day, a different toy, and I threw it away. Each time I threw them away. I'm like, not doing this. I threw it away. A different toy went off. For 6 days, a different toy would go off. And on this piano, you have to touch multiple spots. You can't just touch one spot and the rest goes off. You have to touch multiple spots. And this piano was like...
With all these strange incidents piling up involving the toys, Dakota takes matters into her own hands and installs security cameras throughout the house. It doesn't take long before one of them records something that stopped her cold. A bone tumbles off a shelf with no one nearby, but look closely at what the footage actually shows. A pale hand emerges from inside the shelf, pressed against the wall, shoves the bone off, then vanishes. And that's not even the most unsettling part. After the bone hits the floor, Dakota's 2 dogs get up to investigate, but a third figure, pale gray with visible hair, suddenly rises up from behind the couch right beside them, peering over the edge. The dogs don't react to it at all. Dakota then added a brief follow-up to this footage.
And it is a demon baby. It disguised itself as a baby. It's my toddler's size. It has half of a face and it has hair. My daughter was bald. My daughter looked a lot like that. So who is this baby sitting on my couch with hair when I clearly went out there and didn't see anybody? After seeing that, I got spooked because something's in my house. Something's trying to torment my kid. She's been having night terrors, which do not blow off your kid.
This is where the story takes an even darker turn. Dakota was eventually forced to have one of her dogs euthanized after it turned severely aggressive, attacking a neighbor and snarling with wild, frenzied eyes directly at her young daughter. Having now seen this demonic figure that bears a resemblance to the little girl, Dakota believes her dog wasn't actually threatening her daughter at all. It was reacting to the entity attached to her. The animal had likely been living under the stress of encountering this presence day after day inside their home.
Am I sure that I didn't have another animal? I was absolutely sure that the only 2 animals that I had were the one sitting on the couch that you could see that kind of got up to investigate. This comment right here, that it's scary that my dog didn't notice it, that was my first thought, because I thought that kids and animals were both susceptible and sensitive to the spiritual realm. I guess not all the time. I mean, I guess same with the fact that spirits roam the earth 24/7. Just because kids don't see it 24/7 doesn't mean that they don't see them periodically. So I think that's what happened with my dogs. I think they from time to time did sense it, because unfortunately I actually put my dog down. The gray one, I ended up having to put her down because she showed signs of aggression. She ended up attacking my neighbor, and we tried to get her help. We didn't have enough money for a trainer, and we didn't have the resources. The final decision was made when she looked at my daughter and was growling at her. She had like whale eyes. She was growling at my toddler, and I thought that she wanted my daughter's toy. So I stood between her and my child. I grabbed the toy from my baby, and I was just like, "Are you wanting this?" And she looked past me to like continue growling at my daughter. And after seeing this video, because I thought maybe she was just reactive and uncomfortable with my child, but I don't think that it was my child. After seeing this video, I'm convinced that it was this entity that was attached or following my daughter around, that it was making that, that it was growling at.
Dakota remains firmly convinced that her dog's aggression, her daughter's night terrors, and everything else traces back to whatever entity has latched onto her child. Tragically, that belief came at the cost of her dog's life. But the central question still hangs in the air: just what is this thing? And where did it come from? Until more answers surface, this case stays unsolved. Jorge Cruz says he's been tormented by a dark and sinister presence for some time now. According to him, all kinds of unsettling paranormal events have surrounded his life, but nothing could have prepared him for what his camera captured late one night toward the end of December. Just as Jorge is getting ready to turn in for the night, he picks up on strange sounds and heads out to figure out where they're coming from, and that's the moment everything spirals into something truly terrifying.
What he got? There was like some... What the f is that? What the f is that? You gotta be kidding me! Who goes there? Who goes there? That cannot be real. What the f? You gotta be kidding me. What the f was that? You gotta be kidding me. Oh, you gotta be messing with me. I swear to God, this gotta be a joke. Whoever's in here, I command you to leave in the name of Jesus Christ. I ask you to leave now. Oh, oh, I got adrenaline going right through my body. What the is that? What the who goes there? You gotta be f***ing kidding me. Wasn't this close? Oh, what the f*** is that? Guys, you gotta be kidding me. What's the f***ing thing? Oh, f***, I'm getting a headache badly. I'm getting a fucking headache badly. Oh, f***. You gotta be kidding me!
What follows are chilling, blood-curdling screams that send Jorge searching through his home, only to be met with thunderous banging and the unmistakable sound of something moving around nearby. Jorge himself ends up screaming even louder than whatever is haunting him, and when he finally makes his way back into the kitchen, he's met with a shocking sight. A room that had been completely tidy just moments earlier now has every cabinet hanging wide open and furniture strewn across the floor. So what's really going on here is Jorge being terrorized by a violent evil entity, or perhaps a poltergeist? Or is this whole thing nothing more than an elaborate setup? That's for you to judge. Rachel is a mother living in the United States who believes a spirit is trying to communicate through her young son. She says the entity has been interfering with his toys, and while her son claims he hasn't actually seen anything, he's fully aware that strange things have been occurring around him. Back in February 2025, her son had just had his birthday, and a large balloon was still inflated and tied to a chair to keep it from drifting up to the ceiling. One day, however, Rachel noticed it had come loose and was drifting through the house on its own. She watched it for a bit, and to her surprise, it glided to an abrupt stop directly in front of the open basement door. She found it odd, but brushed it off, secured the balloon again, and then discovered it was on the move once more just an hour later. Growing increasingly unsettled, she pulled out her phone and hit record. You can see the balloon drifting lazily through the house before coming to a dead stop right at the basement entrance, which is already unnerving enough on its own. But here's the thing, this is precisely what had happened the hour before she started filming. According to Rachel, it traced the exact same route and halted in the exact same spot. She couldn't work out why it kept stopping right there at the basement door. Then, the following day, something new happened. This time, unlike in the earlier incidents, Rachel's son is actually in the room when the balloon drifts toward the basement, and this time, instead of stopping at the doorway, it continues inside. Rachel feels as though something is guiding it deliberately, as if whatever is down there wants to draw her son into the basement. She's tried to talk herself out of these conclusions more than once. Her first instinct was that a draft must be responsible for pushing the balloon in that direction, but she can't account for why it consistently halts right at the threshold unless her son steps in after it. And if that weren't already enough to send chills down your spine, things were about to get considerably more disturbing. At around 9:30 in the evening, roughly half an hour after putting her son to bed, Rachel is on her way downstairs when she spots the balloon sitting at the bottom of the staircase. Then watch what unfolds.
Babe. Quiet. Quiet.
Instead of drifting toward the basement like before, the balloon begins moving up the staircase in the direction of Rachel and her son's bedroom. The moment it reaches the top step, the light cuts out and the balloon freezes in place. Rachel says her dog began barking the instant the balloon started moving, as though it sensed something wasn't right. Viewers who have been keeping up with Rachel's content pointed out that the balloon even appears to climb the stairs one step at a time. Now, airflow through the house could potentially explain that, but it's still an eerie detail that has plenty of people questioning whether something supernatural might be pulling the strings. By this point, Rachel is ready to pop the balloon and be done with it, but her son refuses to let her. The very next day though, when she's alone in the house, Rachel is pushed completely to her breaking point as the most frightening moment yet unfolds. What appears to be the top of a human head can be seen slowly emerging from the upper corner of the basement doorway. Rachel saw it too. She let out a terrified scream, though she wasn't immediately sure what she was looking at. She panics, and the footage cuts out. If she had any lingering doubts about whether something paranormal was happening in her home, those doubts are gone now. Some viewers remain skeptical, suggesting Rachel staged the whole thing for attention. But the majority side with her and agree that something about that balloon is deeply wrong. On October 24th, 2025, a French TikTok creator known as Darkja posted a clip describing what she says she went through that evening. Initially, the room looks completely normal, but as the video plays on, something starts shifting within the shadows.
Jim. Emily. Be my fault.
A dark smoke-like form materializes inside the space. It has no defined shape, and it gradually seems to drift toward Darkja while the surrounding area stays cloaked in darkness. Then arrives the moment that transformed this footage into something people couldn't stop talking about. The light flicks on. The figure has vanished, without a trace. Darkja is then briefly visible holding a cross up in front of her, which says everything about how terrified she was by whatever she felt was sharing that room with her. But what exactly was it? Viewers have landed in very different camps. Some are convinced the shape is proof of something beyond the natural world. Others lean toward far more grounded explanations, things like shadow play, low camera exposure, the way darkness distorts on film, or even a deliberate setup. What makes the clips so unnerving though is the timing. The instant the light switches on, that dark shape is simply gone. And unfortunately, that's exactly where the footage stops giving us anything to work with. We never get to see what followed once the lights came on. So there's no real way to know what Darkja was actually reacting to. So what was moving around in that room? A trick of the light? A glitch of the camera? Something carefully orchestrated? Or something that had no business being there in the first place? No one has a definitive answer. What do you think was going on that night? Drop your thoughts in the comments. The old Roberto Galeotti Hospital in Lima, Peru is widely regarded as one of the most haunted locations in the entire country. Footage recorded on January 21st inside its morgue appears to back up that reputation, and it didn't take long to send shockwaves across social media.
Miren esa camisa anda sola, chicos. Con los pelos de punta.
What the camera captures is a vacant hospital bed drifting on its own down a corridor with no visible person guiding it. Some believe an unseen presence is responsible, while others insist there must be a logical explanation. Still, confronted with something like this, it's nearly impossible to keep your nerves completely steady. A group of friends sets out for a camping trip, hoping to swap stories by the fire and soak in the quiet of the woods. But the night takes a very different turn. It begins when one of them steps away from camp to track down a friend who has seemingly gone missing.
Shit. Alexis? Alexis?
Pushing further into the trees, he stumbles onto something unexpected, a fenced-off area, sitting completely alone in the middle of the forest. What starts out as merely odd quickly turns unsettling when he spots a solitary figure seated inside the enclosure. Who on earth would just be sitting there in total darkness?
Okay.
I don't... Guys.
Alexis.
Aiden, stop. No.
Okay.
Then, things spiral fast. The footage grows shaky, dread takes over, and the recording ends without warning, leaving behind one final haunting image, a twisted, barely human silhouette that some are calling a creature. So, was this all just friends pulling a stunt on each other, or something far more disturbing? It's tough to know for certain, but when things start feeling that wrong, staying close to camp seems like the smarter call. The following video is about a woman who describes herself as someone who pays close attention to the small, unexplained things, the moments most people would brush off or walk right past. In the first clip, she's alone in her car at night, using her phone's flashlight to illuminate the dark space beneath her dashboard, when she notices something moving inside a gap in the plastic trim. Watch.
Oh my god, it's a being. Hi! Friend! Yay! You're amazing. I can't believe this is, I can't believe it. This is, but it, oh my god, I'm so grateful. That's a being. Oh my god, you guys. Look at him. Ooh, let's hide. Oh my god, this is amazing. Oh, you're coming out more. Yay. Boo! That's so cool. Oh my god, that's so cool. Shit, I can't even see when I go around like that.
A small, pale creature, thin-bodied with a distinct head and bright eyes, peers out from the crevice, retreating and re-emerging, looking directly at the light before pulling back into the darkness again. She's not frightened at all. She calls it a being, and her voice carries a kind of genuine wonder, like she's stumbled onto something rare and intentional. Now, most viewers watching this would immediately recognize it as a gecko or small lizard that found its way into the car's interior, not exactly uncommon in warmer climates. But what some people in her comments latched onto was the timing, the creature appearing at night in a hidden space seemingly drawn to the light. In certain folkloric traditions, lizards and small reptiles are considered liminal creatures, beings that exist on the boundary between spaces, sometimes associated with messages or signs. She doesn't seem concerned with the rational explanation. To her, the encounter felt like something more. And maybe that's what's interesting here, not the creature itself, but the way she interprets it. What would you make of it? Then, separately, she shares a second clip taken outside at night, in what looks like a wooded area, where she had noticed something strange moving through the branches. Listen closely. A single bright point of light darts erratically through the dark foliage, jerking left, right, up, and down with no clear pattern, briefly splitting into what looks like 2 points, then shifting to a crescent shape, and at one moment flashing a faint violet hue before returning to white. Skeptics would point to a laser pointer, a small insect, or even a drone light, all plausible given the low quality of the footage. But others think the movement is too frantic and too irregular for any of those explanations to fully hold. She called this one an otherworldly being doing something to the light, which is a phrase that's hard to ignore. Whether these two encounters are connected or just coincidence, if you're enjoying watching this video, like and subscribe. You decide what she actually found out there. Now, in this next clip, a man is doing what sounds like a routine property check at a cemetery. Just a walkthrough at dusk, gray skies overhead, the kind of task that's supposed to take 20 minutes and be completely uneventful. But something has already happened before he even starts filming. He's breathing hard, his voice is rattled, and he immediately starts describing what he saw moving between the monuments, something low to the ground, moving on all fours, crossing from a distant obelisk toward a closer stone near a tree. Watch.
Alright guys, so I was just finishing up my property check, and saw, I don't even know what I saw. It looked, the only way I can describe it is it looked like a person on all fours crawling from that monument straight across to that stone over there. Now, I walked around both. There was absolutely nothing there. But it literally looked like, what the? Every time I get close, it sounds like something is running. I hope the phone is picking that up. There's nothing here. What the f is that noise? There's absolutely nothing. Like, I don't know if it was an animal, but it looked like a person. I saw the head, arms, legs, but it looked like it was all four legs. And they were down low, and they were like, shoom, like they went fast. What the fuck was that? Oh, something just whizzed by my head. And I can hear movement still. Are you near me? Can you come closer?
you can hear something suddenly running at full speed through the cemetery. The sound is fast and heavy enough to suggest whatever it was wasn't simply walking between the graves. It sounds like it was moving quickly, almost charging through the area. And that's where the footage gets especially unsettling. Stories of strange creatures appearing around cemeteries often involve entities that move unusually fast or stay low to the ground, sometimes described as animal-like until they suddenly move in a way that doesn't quite match any normal animal. The man apparently couldn't see exactly what was making the sound either. So you're left with the audio, rapid footsteps tearing across the cemetery while he's standing there trying to figure out where they came from. And if what he saw really was moving on all fours, the question becomes even more uncomfortable. Was he watching an animal running between the graves, or something that shouldn't have been there at all? Now, in this next clip, a man wakes up just after 3 a.m. to the sound of footsteps moving up and down his staircase. Something he says stops the moment he gets out of bed. His smartwatch confirms the time, 3:02 in the morning. And according to him, this isn't a one-off occurrence. It's always around 3 a.m. and it's always on a Sunday. He says he lay there for a good 2 or 3 minutes listening to whatever it was pacing the hallway outside his bedroom door, walking back down the stairs, then back up again, before something seemed to sense him moving and scurried away. So he grabbed his phone and started filming, moving through a dark, cluttered house in near total silence. Watch.
Alright guys, so it's 3:02 a.m. again on a Sunday morning. I'm woken up to the sound of something walking up and down these stairs. It's going up, walking down the hall to my bedroom door, stopping at the hallway, walking back down the hallway, coming back down the stairs. Now I listened to this for a good maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and then as soon as I jump out of bed, come down the hall, I hear something scurry down the stairs, and I come downstairs and it's just silence, absolute silence. I don't understand why it is always the same time. It's always around 3 a.m. every Sunday morning. So there's got to be some kind of significance to Sunday morning at 3:03 a.m. or whatever it was. There has to be some kind of significance to that. What it is, I don't know. But there has to be some kind of connection as to why I'm always woken up at the same time every Sunday morning.
According to him, both doors were locked, and whatever he heard running through the hallway never appeared on camera. There was no obvious way for the scissors to have been moved there. So how did they end up sitting open on that mat? Some viewers will immediately focus on the timing. 3 a.m. has long carried an unsettling reputation in paranormal folklore, sometimes associated with the so-called witching hour or devil's hour. Others might argue that the footsteps, the scissors, and the timing are all separate events with perfectly ordinary explanations. But then there are the whispers. Listen carefully throughout the clip, because some viewers claim there are several faint voices buried beneath the other sounds, almost as if someone is quietly speaking somewhere in the house. If those whispers are actually there, it makes the scissors feel less like a random object and more like part of whatever was happening that night. Was something simply moving around the house, or was it trying to leave him a message? This next clip was recorded by a home security system in what appears to be an empty house late at night. The timestamp reads 22:45, and not a single person is visible in either room. The owner says they only dared to share this footage a full year after moving out. Whatever happened here was enough to make them leave, and leave for good. Watch. The first camera picks up a bright rectangular reflection suddenly appearing on the glass of a tall display cabinet, and when the angle switches to a second camera, you can see why. The refrigerator door in the kitchen is standing open, its interior light flooding the floor. No one walks in. No one touches it. It simply opens on its own, in a dark and empty house, at nearly 11 at night. What made it move? In this next clip, a woman lying in bed watching TV heard a knocking sound somewhere in the house. She got up to investigate, moving through a hallway toward a lit room, and when she pointed her camera at the transom window above a closed door, she found something written in the dust on the inside of the glass. The word "help," traced in shaky, finger-like strokes. She gasps when she sees it, and you can hear exactly why. Watch.
Ethan, what are you staring at?
Dad, you see it?
See what? What is it?
Hold on, let me wait.
Since my sister took that damn video every single night at the same time this knocking starts. Terrifying the first 2 days, but now it's just annoying the hell out of us. Yup, I hear ya. Fucking A. Nothing. Always nothing.
There's a tall figure, completely still, wearing what looks like a wide-brimmed hat. That detail matters because what's often called the Hat Man is one of the most consistently reported shadow figures in modern paranormal accounts. A tall, dark silhouette with a hat, seen in doorways and dark rooms, described by people across different countries and cultures who've never compared notes. Some researchers connect it to sleep paralysis and shared hallucination, while others argue the cross-cultural consistency of the description makes that explanation harder to accept. But that routine quality might be the most unsettling part of all. When something unexplained becomes just an annoyance, it means it's been going on long enough that the fear has worn off. And that alone should tell you something. This next clip was recorded at an Airbnb rental at nighttime, inside a bathroom that one of the two women staying there described as insane. The two of them had been messing around in the walk-in shower area, dancing and laughing completely at ease. Nothing about the mood suggested anything was wrong. Watch.
Bro, what the f are you doing? Hey. Bro, this bathroom is fucking insane.
lower. Oh shit. Hold on. Ice Cube, restroom. But we're literally in the fucking shower right now. In the shower, in like a fortune.
Without either woman touching the controls, the shower suddenly blasts on at full pressure, soaking them almost instantly and sending both into a fit of screaming. Skeptics could point to a faulty valve, a pressure change, or even a sensor or timer system that the guests didn't know about. And in an unfamiliar rental, that's certainly possible. But there's another detail that makes the moment more interesting. They were laughing and playing around in the exact space where the shower suddenly turned on. For paranormal believers, that can be interpreted as something reacting to their presence, almost as if whatever was believed to be in that bathroom had been there silently, watching them, and suddenly decided to make itself known. And if there really was something attached to that location, some paranormal traditions take the idea even further. They claim that an encounter doesn't always end when someone walks out of the room. The belief is that a spirit or negative presence can sometimes follow a person away from the original location, especially if the person has unknowingly drawn its attention. Of course, there's no way to establish that from this footage alone, but imagine leaving an Airbnb after something like this happens, laughing it off as a strange malfunction, only to wonder later whether whatever turned that shower on was actually left behind in that bathroom, or whether it came with you. This next clip was filmed inside a hospital room at night by a man recording a woman, possibly a family member, who's lying in bed and appears to be ill. The room is dim, the lighting low and yellowish, and the whole scene already carries that particular kind of quiet that hospital rooms have late at night. Something had apparently been happening before he started recording, because you can hear him say, "What?" while pointing the camera around the room. Watch.
What?
The vital signs monitor on its wheeled stand rolls smoothly across the floor on its own, covering about 2 feet before stopping right beside the bed, and no one is visibly touching it. What's harder to explain than the movement itself is her reaction. Calm, almost amused, as if she'd been expecting it, or perhaps had seen it happen before. Some believe what's captured here is a form of psychokinesis, energy projected unintentionally by someone in deep physical or emotional distress. Others think it points to something else entirely, something drawn to the vulnerable. What do you make of her response? The following clips were all recorded inside a French household where a woman has been living alone with her young son and their pets, and where unexplained activity has apparently been building for weeks. The phenomena don't stay in one room, they don't happen at predictable times, and according to the woman, the phenomena seem to be starting again after what she describes as a stretch of quiet. One night, the woman heard a strange sound coming from the boy's empty bedroom while the child was in the living room watching cartoons on a tablet. Even the family cat seemed to hear it. The tabby walked directly toward the dark room, calm but focused, heading somewhere with intent. Watch. Inside the unlit bedroom, a rhythmic banging could be heard coming from somewhere in the darkness, while a teddy bear appeared to move in a way that many viewers later described as unnatural. The camera lingers on the room as the sound continues, making it difficult to tell whether the movement was caused by something ordinary or something else entirely. What unsettled many people most wasn't the toy itself, but the behavior of the cat. Animals are often believed to sense things humans cannot perceive, reacting to sounds, movement, or changes in an environment long before people notice them. And in this footage, the tabby doesn't appear frightened or confused. It walks toward the room without hesitation, as if it already understands something the people behind the camera do not. Some viewers believe the footage captured a genuine paranormal moment. Others argue there may be a logical explanation hidden somewhere in the darkness of the room. But whatever caused the banging that night, one thing is certain. The reaction from the cat is what continues to leave people unsettled. Another incident happened while she was getting ready to shower late at night, and her son was already asleep in his room. She heard something in the hallway, a mechanical rolling and a rhythmic banging against the bathroom door, and when she opened it, she found this. She documented everything methodically. She found the remote control sitting on the stairs, its batteries dead for days. Her son had left it there for her to replace, meaning no one had been operating that truck, and no one in that house was awake to do it anyway. She lives alone with her child and her animals, and she plans to have the house purified, and that in itself tells you how seriously she's taking this. On another night, she woke up again, this time by her child's electronic toy drum set that had switched itself on in her son's bedroom, flashing and playing music while the child slept right through it. Take a look.
bientôt pour un nouveau concert. À bientôt pour un nouveau concert.
As she moves through the room to shut the toy off, something small and bright moves quickly across the frame near a stack of cardboard boxes. A white orb-shaped light that travels fast and low before disappearing. Skeptics would call it dust or a lens artifact, and that's a reasonable position. Fast-moving specks caught on phone cameras at night are common enough to dismiss. But the toy turning on is the harder thing to rationalize because she says it's not the first time, and her reaction when she opens the door, "Ça recommence?" suggests a woman who's past the point of being surprised and now just exhausted by it. Some people familiar with cases like this point to what's called a poltergeist pattern, a term that comes from the German for noisy ghost, and historically describes phenomena that center around children or households under stress, characterized by objects moving, electronics activating, and escalating disturbances with no clear origin. Whether that framework fits here or not, the toys in this home do seem to have a habit of coming to life on their own. Then, the activity crossed a line. In a later clip, the woman was watching a video on a projector in the dark when she began hearing a series of sharp, unexplained taps coming from somewhere in the room she couldn't identify. Watch closely. A drawer on a small wooden table slid open on its own in front of her, smooth and silent. And then, the moment she turned her back after closing it, the door behind her slammed shut with real force. She gasped, opened the door, turned on the hallway light, and walked toward her son's room to check on him. That's when it escalated completely. A sudden, thunderous barrage of heavy sounds rushed at her from down the hallway, like something charging directly toward her, and the camera fell. The footage ends with the phone on the floor pointing at the ceiling, and the only sound is her breathing, fast, shaking, and ragged. She said that days can go by in this house without anything happening, and then everything hits at once, and that she's not afraid so much as she is worn down by it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this because there's a version of the story where the explanation is mundane. Faulty toy batteries, a drafty hallway, an old door latch, and a version where a single mother has been quietly sharing her home with something that's been getting louder. Now, in this next clip, a man decides to explore American cremation after hours, a facility his friend works at, someone who had already warned him that strange things tend to happen around the furnaces when they're in use. He'd gone in knowing the lights shut off automatically at a certain hour, and he walks through the dark space with only his phone's flashlight cutting through the dark, past the heavy metal retorts, past the urns sitting on tables, talking himself through it calmly enough. But then the audio starts acting up. A wave of static and distortion bleeding into his narration, even though he claims he didn't hear any of it while he was standing there. That alone would be enough to make most people turn around. He keeps going. Watch.
I have a friend that works that he would see and hear things coming from these furnaces when they're burning the bodies. So when I'm walking through here, they usually put the urns out to send to the families. So when I'm walking here at night, I walk right by these urns that they put on these tables here. And then I come down, freaking out. Fuck. This is crazy.
As he holds the camera on a shelf lined with urns, the lid on a white marble patterned one lifts, twice, accompanied by a sharp metallic screeching sound that fills the room. His reaction is immediate and visceral. He swears, the camera swings toward the ceiling, and he runs. He doesn't stop until he's back in the office hallway, breathing hard, trying to gather himself. But it doesn't stop there. While he's hiding in the office, a faint, low breathy moan is caught on the recording, something he wouldn't have even known was there until he reviewed the footage later. And then, outside, standing in the parking lot with a cemetery sitting just beyond the fence line, a high-pitched female voice is captured, soft and quick, cutting through the night air. Some believe locations like this, places where the recently deceased pass through daily, carry a kind of residual energy that doesn't always leave with the body. Others think the EVPs point to something more active, something still present on the grounds. If you listen closely to that second voice especially, it's hard to explain away as ambient noise. So what exactly was in that room with him?